I mean, I could just spit some bars and say, money was the motive until motivation came. I was smoking on the daily. I was buried in my shame. I would let the system play me all the self-inflicted pain, but now I'm posted in my lane. Thank you, Lord, I'm born again.
Welcome back to Chocolate Espresso Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Newair. Whatever floats your fancy, I ain't picky. Listen, man, everybody in this podcasting room knows what time it is. Y'all know what time it is if you reoccurring. If you new, you about to find out. It's interview time. Man, I love interviews, man. Let me tell you something. Interviews are so special because you get to learn about artists, you get to learn about what they do, their inspirations, everything about them. And I love it too because here's the thing. I can ask the same question to 100 people and I get different answers every time. Ain't that something? So listen, I say it every time. And I say it for a reason, right? I can't introduce them any better than they can introduce themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the microphone.
What's up, people? What's up? How you doing today? My name is LDN Miracle, artist, born and raised in London, grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm here today with my man, Thomas.
So I got questions, all right? And I love asking questions. Y'all know that. I ask too many questions. What made you start pursuing music?
Yeah, so, honestly, when it comes to music, I was born with music in me. Music really is just, I am music. And the pursuit of music really just came more seriously after I had a near-death experience. It made me realize the power of life and death. And I was like, man, I need something that the world isn't offering me, so I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna make it myself.
Can you talk a little bit about the life or death experience? Like, how does that fit into pursuing music?
Yeah, most deaf. Man, so, I remember that song, Percocet, Molly Percocet, right? The same summer that was number 1 in the charts, 8 of my homies overdosed on Percocet. That right there made me realize the power in the music. And back then I was still, still me, still goofy, still in the streets, still, really trapping, And it made me realize, man, I cannot be continuously spreading this death, this darkness, this destruction, and not thinking it's not going to impact me. And so, from that point on, it was, intentional, pursuing of life, pursuing of taking care of the people around me and not spreading this message of death, no matter how cool it may be. You know what I'm saying? We got to break out of that and realize what is true. So
you talked a little bit about that song. Do you feel like it inspired you in so many ways too? Or do you feel like you're inspiring others? There seems to be a chain here, right?
Man, I can't lie. I mean, we know how addictive Future's voice is. Everybody wants this man's voice on a beat tag, but we also know how addictive cocaine is, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it may be good, but it's not necessarily good for you.
That's wild. Do you feel like the modern hip hop has shifted? I think of old school hip hop and today's hip hop, and I'm just like, I feel like there's no soul in it anymore, Do you feel like the same, or?
Man, I feel like nothing was the same. I really feel like truly, to be honest, things are not pure anymore. The frequencies aren't pure anymore. The music isn't pure anymore. The verbiage isn't pure anymore. The music videos are no longer pure. Everything is just tainted. And everything is just so dark right now. We're really out here looking for somebody to come save us. Somebody to save the game, save the industry, something, because everything is so tainted.
Yeah, you know what? There definitely has been a huge shift. Sometimes I'll tell my mom, some of y'all music was just as vulgar as ours. What you mean? And she's like, no. It's there's songs out there. I could find them. I mean, I did, but she's like, you found 3. I can go through America's top 50 and find you almost 30 of them. Yep. There's a huge difference between the two. So do you think there's a difference between hip hop and Christian hop and rap?
Man, I definitely think there's a difference in hip hop and Christian hip hop. Definitely. Christian hip hop is supposed to be spreading the message of life and hope, the hope of Christ. So it shouldn't be pushing this agenda of kill, steal, lie, cheat. I just slept with your mom. I slept with your sister. Like, we shouldn't be pushing that. But again, you know what I'm saying? Like, Christians are humans too, and humans are flawed. So, you know, some of the people might have good intentions, but the impact they're having might not necessarily be what they're intending.
So, like, are there some Christian hip hop artists right now, or you're just like, I can't listen to them. Like, this isn't even. Call them out. Call them out. I want to hear some name drops, man.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I can't do that right now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta build up the brothers in Christ. I can't tear them down.
Okay.
I won't rebuke them in public, but if the time comes, best believe I will.
So, but to say there are some though, there are definitely a few out there. You're just like giving them the side eye a little bit.
Man, if they're not building up the body, you know, if they're not edifying and encouraging, I don't really know what they're doing. You know, I know that right now it's cool to be a Christian. You know what I'm saying? The same way it was cool to be black back in 2020. But I just realized that some people are really just chasing the bag, chasing the clout, riding the wave. And we got to be able to sift them out and know that there's many false prophets arising in these wicked times. So
another side question, right? So a notable artist that came to mind was Chance the Rapper. From his shift from where he was to completely going, some people would say left with his music. Is that kind of like the image you think Christian rap and hip hop should kind of do? Like, would you like to see more of that?
You know, I won't really tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. But what I will say is that everybody that's come before us, we can learn a lesson from them. So when I see Chance the Rapper, I see him as a rapper who's Christian. Yes, he's had songs where he gives glory to God. Yes, he has songs where he's like, giggity. Like, he be doing all that happy stuff, you know, and I won't lie to you, like, when I was coming from the dark to the light, he had a big part to play in my growth and maturity as a young man and as a Christian. But now that I've grown, I no longer need baby milk. I need more solid food. You know, I need lyrics and words and daily bread that will edify and encourage and build me up to be who God has called me to be. And once upon a time, that was nourishing for me, you know, but now I need something a bit more meaty. Yeah.
Man, say that last part one more time.
A bit more meaty.
You know, I talk about it a lot too, especially in my regular part of the podcast, Chocolate Espresso podcast. Shout out, just saying. It's this industry has definitely shifted so hard. You know, it's really hard finding just even clean rap, even if it's not Christian rap, just clean rap. The music doesn't even sound the same when they start bleeping it out or just removing the word entirely. It's like it shifted the whole song, which goes to show, like, do you feel like the industry has left God or shifted from God, or even just God's positive message?
Man, I mean, hip hop as a whole, I mean, obviously, the way that it started was so pure. And as again, you know, money and clout and fame and all these things that really tie back in the Garden of Eden, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. You know, those things came intertwined and took away from the purity, you know, and sin just ran rampant. Things now are not clear. They're so muddy right now. I do want things to get back to the way that they used to be, but also I just can't be thinking about the good old days, but I do have to look forward towards a brighter future. And I've got to be the change I want to see in the world, to be able to inspire and encourage others to step out in faith.
So you talked a little bit about it, but can you tell me a little bit about your trial and errors?
Yeah, man. You know, I mean, I could just spit some bars and say, you know, money was the motive until motivation came. I was smoking on the daily. I was buried in my shame. I would let the system play me all the self-inflicted pain, but now I'm posted in my lane. Thank you, Lord, I'm born again. Like, I had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of trials, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was up at Mary's place, the shelter downtown, you know what I'm saying, when I first came from London. And it was difficult, you know. We was in and out of hotels, you know, like sleeping. I mean, man, like people from church came in clutch, right? Like it was just the love, the community, the care that we received. I had a lot of trials in that area. Academic trials, relationship trials. I mean, you name it. I've been living life, you know, and it's not easy. But through it all, you know, God's been consistent. He's been careful to keep me and guide me. And sometimes I feel like I'm not, sufficient, but his grace is sufficient for me. And I have many, many people who see me grow and progress tell me, Miracle, I am proud of you.
Say that again.
I wish I could, but I'm going to say with all humility. People have said, Miracle, I'm proud of you. And I just can't wait to hear that. Well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what I'm looking to hear.
Man, that's amazing. You don't really get a chance to talk to a lot of people who've gone through so many different, going from another country to an entirely different country and starting from that position, especially staying within the church and really diving headfirst into finding God and putting God first in everything you do. You don't hear that often anymore. It is, in my opinion, a very rare sight, especially even with some Christian rappers that I'm aware of. It's like, okay, like you said, some of them are definitely in it for the money,
But don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? I did have my falls, you know what I'm saying? But the righteous fall 7 times, they get back up.
That's right. And let's talk a little bit about mental health, especially from some of your trials and hip hop as a whole. All you hear is about the violence in there. And like you said, that's somebody's sister. That's somebody's mom you're talking about. That could be your daughter. This person's referring to. It's a lot of trauma in there, especially just alone in somebody's self, in their own personal life outside of the music. How do you feel like your mental health has been since you started till now?
When it comes to mental health and art, sometimes you really just got to put it to the side. I know how important it is to renew your mind, to have a clear mind, to, be of a sound mind. But I also know how important this mission is. And so sometimes, I take days for rest. I have my Sabbath day. And then other days I push through and I put it to the side. But I won't lie. Since becoming an artist, my mental health has definitely had ups and downs, especially in this generation, right? This generation of social media, instant gratification, all these things come into play. What someone else is doing, the comparisons. But when I lean on God, my rock and my salvation, I'm sturdy, I'm firm, and I'm not focused on other people. I'm fixing my eyes on Christ, the author and finisher and perfecter of my faith.
It's so interesting because when you look at social media, and there are people now today where if you started talking more about God and you're really praising him and putting that out there are people who will defriend you. You know what I mean? That's friends that you've known for so long, nope, out of there. And it really goes to show where they're at, especially if you're using your platform to more promote your music and your message and his message. Do you feel like social media for you has been helpful or harmful to your brand?
Well, first, I just want to say I don't blame them, for actually, shunning you when they hear you talking about God, because hurt people, right? And many people who are in the church have actually been the ones to hurt people and push people away. And again, like I said, it's flawed people, right? Imperfect people carrying a perfect message. And so sometimes the flawed humans are going to present it, in a way that might not be adequate, right? It might not do that message justice. And that's why, it's important that we live it out and we walk it out and we do life together, hold people accountable, encourage each other, and really just, lock in and be a body of people, a body of people who love each other. So, that's just to that. I know that people have unfriended me and, disregarded me, for my faith, but I still love them. I just know that that's where they're at right now. It might be a sensitive topic for them, but we do have to have grace and compassion and pray for them. But in regards to, the current state of social media, I think it actually has been quite helpful. I do think it's been helpful in, getting the message out. There's no other way you could be able to, meet friends in Japan and Iowa and in London town and, in a couple seconds, all in the comment section. It's a really powerful tool, but we cannot abuse it. We've got to know its power. We've got to be intentional and, again, know that it's a sensitive topic when it comes to faith, and just be able to, bring our best selves to that conversation and dialogue.
So this next question is going to be a little bit of a twofer kind of a situation, but, short story. When I'd speak with my girlfriend about gospel music and everything, I was like, I can't do certain gospel because it all sounds the same to me. And I know a little insight, like some gospel is really them singing and praising in its scriptures from what I know. I could be wrong, but it's like I can't so for me I can't do it, right? It's I can do like longer music or like Tai Tibet. I feel like I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but yeah, I can do his music, right? I love that music, right? And when I think of gospel, I think of like Catholic church singing, you know, it's weird to me. But that sounds the same to me. Like I know it's different songs, but all of those different songs sound the same to me. She's like, I don't understand what you mean. Those are all different songs, right? And for her, it really moves, you know, and for a lot of people, that kind of music moves them. Do you feel like, and I'm gonna change the question a little bit, do you feel like Christian rap sounds the same?
Man, so, you know, first growing up in London, I grew up around old school hymns. You know, I grew up around old English hymns. And so that actually like resonates with me. But then when I got to America and I started listening to, you know, Migos, right? Every Migos clone to me sounded the same. Every Lil Uzi clone sounded the same. All these Lils sounded the same to me, you know? And then when it came to Christian hip hop, which I really just got introduced to in the last like year and a half, 2 years. It was so new to me, right? I didn't grow up on it. It sounded like they were like copycats. It was like, oh, a Christian Kodak Black. Oh, a Christian Migos. Oh, a Christian Future. And, you know, I obviously want the church to have a certain standard of excellence that far exceeds and goes beyond the standard of the world, you know, to know that the divine creator is the one who's inspiring you. You don't have to go and bite somebody else's sound. You can go and take a chunk out of God himself, you know, and pull out of thin air and innovate with things like, you know, the next Apple of music, the next Microsoft of music, and not be like, oh yeah, the next LG or whatever, you know? So yeah, I do think that when it comes to Christian hip hop, some of it kind of does sound the same as other Christian hip hop songs, and some of it actually does sound the same as other secular songs. But I just really want to call all the other artists out there, like, hey, we've got to have a certain standard of excellence. We've got to far exceed and transcend above what's cool right now and make music that lasts, music that is eternal.
I'm super curious. What like A-list or B-list hip hop artists today that you would love to hear switch to more Christian rap? And who do you think would do it best? Because I had a huge argument about this, and I said if Lil Wayne started off with his current skills in Christian rap would be bigger than mainstream hip hop. Like,
Definitely.
Like old school, like 2000 Lil Wayne, bruh, talking about popcorn and all that. Like, nah, I can't even. I'm not even gonna garnish what he talked about, but his lyricism is on par with like Eminem and the rest of them. And if they all were Christian raps, Christian rap would be the rap. It would be, hip hop would be a completely different category. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think?
Don't hate me. I feel like if Ed Sheeran started off in the church, music would belong to the church, you know? Because it's crazy. A lot of these prominent singers, you know, Whitney Houston, Katy Perry, started off in the church, got snagged over to secular, right? I feel like Ed Sheeran, if he was doing it for the church, go nuts. When it comes to hip hop rap, man, if Jay-Z was spitting for the church, man, Ye would have been earlier spitting for the church. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody in good music would have been, oh yeah, we're not just watching the throne, we're watching the throne of Christ. Like it's gonna be like, man, the whole world. But you know, we don't focus on the coulda, woulda, shouldas. We're focused on now, and we're gonna build that. We're gonna build that where everybody's like, oh yeah, music, hip hop, Christian hip hop's where it's at. Like it's not even gonna just be called Christian hip hop. It's gonna be called hip hop, and Christian hip hop is gonna be number one. You're gonna see it. Mark my words.
What Christian artists today would you love to see top the charts?
Man, there's a lot of cats out there who are kind of cool. You know, I got some homies over here on the south side of Minneapolis who are putting in work. But I would say, like, right now, like, I feel like, you know, Caleb Gordon, I think it's a spiritual thing. Caleb, you know, like a trailblazer who's out there with Joshua. He's been ahead, you know what I'm saying, a trailblazer, really putting in work, especially for independent artists. I would definitely want to see him top the charts. I think he'd have to be more intentional about his releases, and really be intentional about just putting work into one project that permeates the sound waves, the radio waves, and is intentional about sticking and making a mark. I think Caleb Gordon will be a great candidate. I think he's, you know, put a lot of work and a lot of time in. But I think Hovey, Caleb Gordon and Hovey's already been doing a lot of numbers. I think he would be the golden child in doing that, definitely.
I gotta check that. You writing these names down? Helping me out here? Come on, man. You can't see the production in the background, but I gotta check these people out, man. I gotta check these cats out. That's crazy, man. Like I said, I've had arguments over this. Like, I stopped a whole party for hours talking about, yo, we need to talk about these artists real quick and what could we shift around? Because what would the industry look like if they just did this instead? If they started running from here, you know what I'm saying? Like, they would be where they're at because just the words alone. And it shifted to, you don't think they would have plucked them anyway? You don't think they would have took them from over there and would have made them mainstream and put them right where we are in our current timeline? And I'm like, nah. I don't, if they really walked with God and in the front of them, they would have stayed. That's what I think. But, you know, again, 2-hour long conversations, party stopping, and you know, fists are about to get thrown because they're like, nah, ain't no way. Let's talk a little bit about like some current trends, right? So two for a question, right? When they were doing that mumble rap, were you a part of that?
Never. We need clarity, and we need words to permeate. Permeation.
That's wild, man. I saw that Snoop Dogg special, and he was like, they had me in the studio trying that. I was like, that ain't for me. Do you have any current trends that are reflecting in some of your music?
I mean, like right now, like I would say, you know, obviously coming from the east side of London, you know, a lot of drill vibes, a lot of heavy synths in the music. But really, I would just say, like, the trend that's never died is speaking truth. You know, like I'd say that's one of the things that you always hear in my music, definitely.
So, okay, another little short story. I go hard a little bit personally, and this is my own little personal vendetta, right? And sorry for anyone out there that hears this, but if you pass a certain age, you just got to put it away. Like, stop what you doing, be done. I almost got hit today at work because I'm talking, dude was old, bald, and had little black spots on his forehead, and I could see it as clear as day. He didn't see me, and I got pushed onto the sidewalk driving. Like, crazy stuff. Dodge an accident, but you too old to be driving. Get an Uber. Like, that being said, like, let's not pretend like there are some old cats in this game that should just retire, maybe take up a few apprentices. You know what I'm saying? Like, but do what J. Cole did, man. Start Dreamville 2 or something. You know, just inspire some young artists to kind of come up and be there. And I feel like Lil Wayne, man, listen, you kind of said it yourself, my guy. I wrote so much. It takes me like 3 weeks just to make sure I didn't already say that bar. Okay, maybe you should retire. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like age matters in the game?
You know, I won't put an age limit on it, but I will say it's a point of relevancy. You know, you want to be culturally competent and understand what's going on right now. You want to be somebody who, you know, is moving and shaking, has their boots on the ground in the community, you know, not just talking, but actually walking it out. And I would say, you know, to them old cats, yo, you know, take some time to invest in the youth. You know, use your platform and alley-oop them, you know, and you never know what they could do with that, you know, and you could get a high return on your investment and see these youth, you know, shake nations, shake worlds, you know, because of the help and the investment that you made into them. You know, doesn't just have to be financial, monetary. It could be time, it could be coaching, you know, and you could see the next generation rise up.
Absolutely, man. I don't know. Listen, I support what you said. I have to respectfully disagree. I got it vended. I just, age matters to me, man.
What's the age to you?
retirement. I think retirement age needs to be like 50. Okay. And if you 50 into anything, unless you can get some apprentices to do it for you, sit down. Just sit down. I mean, 50 to 60, have some apprentices, have some patience. Cause we all started from somewhere, right? And not everybody starts with the, hitting the ground running, right? It's a progress thing, right? But you still trying to do what you do and you retire. Like, I'm sorry. I had too many experiences with old people, and 50 ain't old, because I've seen 70-year-olds pick up and go. But I'm gonna be real with you. You retired. Sit down, live your life alone somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just petty. I feel like I'm petty. Am I petty? I feel like I'm petty. That's interesting though. I mean, even with like the younger generation too. How do you feel about some of the younger cats that are coming out doing Christian rap? Like, is there not like how would you feel if there was like a 12-year-old running around trying to do, Christian rap? Great, but I'm curious.
If there's a 12-year-old right now out here speaking and ministering life, come find me. Come find me. You feel me? We're going to make sure that you get all the tools that you need to be successful and reach your generation. I think it's wonderful when people are intentional and they're inspired, to go out there and speak truth, and they're not afraid of, all the criticizing that they're going to get from the world and from social media. I know that there's people out here rapping 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got kids who come to me and be like, yo, my favorite music is cuss word music. I'm like, okay, like that's just what they grew up with. It's normal for them and it's cool for them. But if you've got people out there who are that young and wanting to speak truth, all props to them. No hate towards them.
Nurture it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm going to shift the conversation again a little bit. Maybe we'll come back to this. I don't know. How do you feel about like signing a label? Would you do it?
Yeah, definitely.
So again, I've asked people that same question 1,000 times. Everybody's a little different. What's so good about a label? I don't understand what a label is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what it is, but everybody's like, I got to sign this record. I got to sign this label and I'm going to make it. Why? Why can't you continue to do what you've been doing and succeed through that,
You can. All props to the independent artists. But one thing I've realized is, it's not always talent that makes it. Sometimes it's the people who have that exposure. I could find the most talented pianist in the world, but they only want to play the piano in their room. They don't want to play in any other city or any other stadium or anything like that. They just want to play in their room. And there are some people who are intentional about getting their message and the word out. What labels do is they give you a platform, right? They give you a platform to get your music out there into the world, to get on the radios, to get on the billboards, to get, all the plays and on all the playlists and all things like that. And what they also do is they get you all the right licensing and they get you all the right, really just the tools and resources for you to be successful in the industry, right? If you're not doing the music and to be heard, if you're just doing it for you, by all means. But if you have a desire to reach more people, don't knock a label as a resource. There are some labels out there who have the sole desire of seeing you succeed. Because if you win, we win. And if I win, you win. That's the desire, right? In a community, in a good community. A good community.
Good community. Do you know what 3 words somebody would describe you as?
Oh, man. 3 words describe me. I say people just say tall, dark, handsome. Oh. Black. Music. Light.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. That's a new one. I got you. So I'm curious, right? One of my top 3 favorite questions. Graffiti knows the first one. Trust me. Second one though. Second favorite question. If somebody gave you $500 today, what would you do with it?
Someone gave me $500 today. $500. I'll give it right back. Or I'll take it and I'll invest it. I'll invest it to get a rate of return to sow a seed back into them. I see how the world is today. Everything costs. Everything has a cost. But I mean, there's been some amazing artists I've worked with, and they're putting the time in. They're putting the work in, and they deserve to be compensated for their work. And we don't do it for monetary gain. We're doing it for treasures. We're trying to stack up treasures in heaven. But labor is worthy of their wages. Some people are putting in work. I would just want to, reward them. Like, hey, thanks for being so diligent, so faithful in this work. There's a lot of people I could shout out. Shout out to HB. You know what I'm saying? Amazing producer. Shout out to Fidi, amazing engineer. Shout out to Ozzy Cash, Grace, Mari, Aunt V, Walker. There's some amazing artists out there who I've been, just really blessed to work with, and I want all of them to eat. I really truly believe that they deserve to eat, and I think all are welcome around the table, and I want to be able to build a table where all people have a seat and they could eat, and really feel like their investments of love were not in vain.
That's it's fascinating because I've had one other person. They didn't exactly say how you said it, but in a roundabout way, they're like, everybody that's on my team, when we succeed, if I succeed, we're succeeding, because I'm almost at the point now where I could pay them enough to survive, and that's the goal. The more I succeed, the more I can pay them more, because I know they're investing more of their time to this goal with me. So you don't hear that often. I mean, again, I've had other artists on here and they're just like, I don't know what I'd do with it. Or, I'll just buy a piece of equipment, or I'll do this. It's like their answers aren't wrong by any means. It's just, it seems to be more rare when you get people that are like, I would reinvest in those around me, because I know these people are helping me. I know these people are doing great, and I want to make sure that reflects them. If it's money, that's great. If it's just hanging around them, that's cool too, So favorite question time. All right, you ready for this one?
Ready.
This is a tough one. All right. This trips up everybody.
All right.
All right. You sure?
I think so.
All right. Audience already knows what it is, but look. Shout out to the AI conversation on Chocolate Espresso podcast. All right. Listen, I love AI. All right. I want to embrace the AI overlords that are coming down if they see this in 10 years or something when the singularity drops. But listen, artificial intelligence is embedding itself in everything. All right, companies are investing it in everything, right? Did you hear about the AI Drake that dropped a while back?
Yeah.
So you already know where this is going, right? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about AI infringing on the music industry?
Man, it's actually funny. Earlier this morning, at about maybe 6 a.m., I was listening to classical music. And I was listening to AI-generated classical music. And then, in the suggested videos, came some AI-suggested, some AI covers of Madonna, AI covers of Lady Gaga. And I actually took a moment to listen to them, and they were horrible. They were horrible. Nothing beats the real thing. When as technology, starts to take over and AI starts to take people's jobs. AI doesn't have a heart. So they can do all these things out here, but AI can never make original art.
Man, I ain't trying to hear that. Look, man. Okay. I told myself I get 2 minutes to make my argument max, because I'll go above and beyond on this one. But y'all seen AI generated art? I truly believe, again, AI overloads. You see this in 10 years, leave me alone. I just want a house by a lake so I can fish and be left alone. I feel like artificial intelligence can have an artificial soul. That's my artificial souls aren't the same as human souls. All right, it's just two separate things. But an artificial soul being not, I wouldn't say as comparable, but if an alien species came to this planet and saw an android and saw humans, and they were able to like crack one open and be like, okay, well, they found what a soul is, and then they saw the AI is artificial soul, they'd be like, it's not up to par, but what's the, like, is this a different species or something? I think that would be possible, because think about all the artificial intelligence and like how Chat GPT, you can be like, a dog riding a horse with a Napoleon hat, wearing red, I don't know, cape, and a moon backdrop, and it can generate that art from nothing, man. Like, I feel like y'all be hating on artificial intelligence. That's why I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I call it original art. Obviously, they have something to base it off of. But hey,
you sound like graffiti.
Okay, we could call it an original art. Okay,
you know what? You said original to unoriginal art?
Unoriginal art.
Oh my God. Like I told him, I don't want to agree to disagree because that's agreeing to something I don't want to budge. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Hey, opinions are respected here. I get it. I am also curious though. All right. Do you believe in conspiracy theories? Let's start. I mean, Illuminati be in the music industry. So I've heard.
They don't talk. They in a room. There's a couple that I'm aware of. There's a couple that I've heard. A couple I've heard.
Oh, okay. There's I think it's factual, right? Because there's too much evidence to support it. But there's like I think it's the 29 rule or something like that, where if like you're a pop artist or a famous artist and you start losing money before the age of 29 and you signed a record label earlier in your life, they kill you off. Because there's evidence that supports once you're no longer here, they make way more money after the fact because all that money goes to the record label. It doesn't go to your family. It doesn't go to your friends. It doesn't go to anyone that helped you get through there. It goes straight to the record label. You think that's true?
I wouldn't know.
Okay. Hey, listen. I'm not in that industry for a reason.
Hey, but if you see me go,
we'll know why.
You will know why.
We'll know why. Do you feel like there's a difference between hard work and dedication?
Okay, Nip. Okay, Nipsey. Yes, there definitely is. Oh, wait. I think that they both do come hand in hand. I would say that they're quite close to being synonymous, but I mean, if you have a dedication to something, you should work hard. And if you do work hard at something, you might not necessarily be dedicated to it, but you're dedicated to doing that because you are working hard at it.
Do you think natural talent plays a role in that, though?
Partially.
So, okay. That sparks another question, though. So, like, what's the difference in natural talent, dedication, and hard work? Because, like, if you had a natural talent in this, you don't have to work hard. You know what I'm saying? Or be as dedicated. Maybe I'm confused, right?
When it comes to my gift, I know it's not natural. I honestly do believe it's quite supernatural. But also, I know that if you don't use it, you lose it. And so I have the desire to work hard in it. And I'm quite dedicated to this craft because I know it's bigger than me. So they all do interconnect, but I don't think that natural talent and hard work and dedication are all synonymous.
Hey, I respect that. I agree. I feel like, so for me personally, this microphone I love is moving on me. For me personally, I'm always on the go, right? Clearly, we're here in the studio. Nice big space. Shout out to Green Screen Studios. Check us out. 2500 University Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota. Okay, yeah, let them know I sent you. Huge studio, nice camera setup, all that jazz. Also have a home setup, right? But it's just me and a computer and everything else that like that. But it's so fascinating because I met people who are like, I can't function unless I'm at the office. I can't even spit any bars unless I'm in this big, nice studio. My inspiration's there. If this was at my house, I'm going to play 2K. Like, nah, it don't matter if I invested thousands of dollars in a home studio. I'm at home. I'm going to play 2K. I'm going to eat some chips and watch Family Guy. I can't take it serious. Do you feel like you're more of a home thing or a studio thing?
I'm definitely more of a studio type person. I love to be out and about on the go. There be times I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm out the door at 5:30. I don't get back till 10 p.m. So, when I'm out and about, it kind of keeps me on my toes. It keeps me proactive. But when you stay in, and I think that was a big thing during the COVID lockdown, when you stay in, you kind of get a little lazy, you get complacent, and you get really comfortable. But when you're stepping out, it's like mercies are new every morning. There's something new to see every day. You know, you don't know what the weather will be like. The sunrise is different. The sunset is different. You never know who you'll meet. But when you just stay in all day, it's like, oh, I'm just here, just me. So
it's tough. You know, my sister, you know, she works for the government, but for her, she's like, I asked her very similar questions. Like, what do you do to keep yourself motivated throughout your work day? You know, and she's like, oh, I'll leave and then I'll go walk around and look at some monuments. It's like, it's the same monuments you've been looking at for like 6 years now. But she's like, well, you gotta do a reset sometimes, you know, because it's the same environment you've been in, whether it be the home office or the work office. You know, you gotta be you gotta be in the game when you're at work, right? And in some, depending on your position, you know, some mistakes could be very costly. Other mistakes could just be, you know, negligible. But for her, she's like, I gotta reset sometimes. You know, what works for some people may not work for others. You know, again, I can work in either or. You know, I gotta praise myself here a little bit. I could do whatever, wherever, however. Suffer in a car, I'll definitely get motion sickness. But I just, it's really fascinating. Like I said, everybody's answer is a little different. You know, some people don't like the hybrid system. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I could work from home, I'm gonna work from home. I ain't coming in for nothing. I am also curious though. So does your art help you in other areas in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. My art helps me with life. You know, this isn't just, you know, oh, I'm just doing this for fun. No, this is like, I'm ministering, you know, and to minister means to serve, to be a servant, minister. And, you know, it's not just a message for you or, you know, for Feedy or anybody else in the room. The message is also for me. You know, it's a reminder of, you know, what to do, what not to do, you know, how you're feeling that time, how you got out of that, you know, and, you know, it's a gift, really, for me to be able to do, and also for me to be able to enjoy it as well. That's the kind of thing I wanted, right? In the very beginning, I wanted to make something that people weren't making, to do what people weren't doing, to do what the world needed. And now I have that, and now I'm also benefiting and eating off of that. So, yeah, the goal is really just to help others with it, and I see the way that it's helping me too, definitely in all areas of my life.
That's beautiful, man. You don't hear that too often. Can you tell me a little bit about your favorite medium?
Man, I love ad-libs. Like, all my homies know when I'm in the booth for ad-libs, we're doing like 3-4 ad-lib tracks. Like, we're like panning them left, right, up, down, like, and the ad-libs are just like an opportunity to really express like what the words aren't saying, you know? And I'd say, you know, ad-libs are my favorite medium, definitely.
Do you feel like your style's changed over the years then?
Oh, definitely, man. Man, when I was, before I was saved, like my music was so like, I would say like vulgar, but like style-wise, like it was like boastful, braggadocious, like swag on a beat, like, yeah, you know, then it was like, all right, man, like that repentance, that heartfelt, like, like back in the day, I was, you know, I'm just praying I could be saved, you know, then it was like, all right, I know who I am, you know, let's start to embrace, you know, this new world, you know, like Ready Player One, like, let's go. Man, like it was like, all right, like we lit, like we're turned, like we're growing, we're getting there. Then it was like, like, man, like there's so much pain in the world, like things aren't like what you think it'll be, And then now it's like, oh yeah, we're drilling, like we're on mission, all black, like let's go, like. So, you know, I know that, you know, time and chance happen to everybody, and, you know, life is all about how you manage time and change effectively. And I'm kind of just, you know, I'm just, you know, floating, you know, just letting God lead.
So a little bit of a question that's going to do a little reflection upon yourself, but you said you were from London, right?
Yes, sir.
So do you feel like your Christian background here, when your music, I can't speak today. Do you feel like your Christian hip hop and rap is reflecting of your heritage there in London, or is it more like Americanized?
Man, you know, it's funny. I'm actually right now working on a little drill project. You know, I grew up with a lot of house music. You know, a little bit of R&B, a little bit. I actually didn't like R&B when I first heard it. I actually didn't like music for a period of time.
I don't blame you, man.
Yeah, like truly. You know, just seeing the state of the way everything was. But you know, as I started to mature and start to actually, you know, start to reflect on my life and everything like that, I started to see little glimpses of my childhood, you know, present in my music. And it was like I wanted to bring this to people, the joy, the enjoyment, you know, the fun, but put it in a way that, you know, wasn't corny, wasn't cheesy, but was like good, you know, and was like, oh yeah, I can bump this. With the windows down because it's clean, you know, but I can bump this and like people are not gonna think, oh, he's a simp, nah, this is tough, this is good music. So yeah, I definitely would say that my background from London is in the music, but also too then my experiences, you know, the serious things I went through in my, you know, more adolescent and adult years here in America. So I'd say it's a combination of the both.
A little bit both. Do you ever feel like London's more home than America?
Oh, yeah. Yes and no, both, yes. I would say really like, it's just always this like fantasy, like, everything is good over there. Everything was great. And I came here and it was streets and it was struggle and it was, but I still have that like fairy tale home that like I can always think back on and reminisce on. When I'm with my family, we can think about the good old days. But yeah, I'd say, you know, Minnesota is home, but London is the biggest and the most heartfelt home.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, I don't, the way the world's going, I don't know. Truly, I don't know. But in 5 years, I see myself walking with God, wherever that may be. Could be in London, could be in the States, could be in Africa. Who knows? Only time will tell.
Man, that's impressive, man. I'd be interested to see if you're in London still doing it. Because there are some artists that come from overseas and nobody knows who they are, but they're like massive over there, you know, and they come here and they're like, this is a, you know, slightly bigger market. You know, I just want to see what I can do. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You know, it's kind of like I hate dropping her name, but what's the girl, Cardi B? It's like Mexico. I had no clue she was anything down there, but huge. And then she made it up here for obvious reasons, but we're not going to get into that. But I don't know. It's really interesting, especially meeting artists from other countries too. Especially when they like to say, hey, you know, America's home too. You know, it's like, I'm here. So this is where I'm laying my hat. It's kind of awesome. What's next for you? Any upcoming EPs? Did I say that right? I said it right? Any upcoming EPs, albums, anything like that?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I'm working on an album, simultaneously working on an EP or a little mixtape. Like I said, the drill tape is on the way. Especially after that 5-year-old foreign Lil Mabu song, Teach Me How to Drill. I'm like, all right, like they're planting CIA agents in the music. Like, come on, y'all, like wake up, this is stupid. But, you know, we got to combat that, you know, and take back London drill. Like, what? Who are these drillers? They're fake, you know? And so there's that on the way. And then the album, I'd say, you know, March is going to be a really good month. March 2024, stay tuned.
How can people find you?
Oof. LDN Miracle. At LDN Miracle. LDN Miracle.
I need 3 things. Could be an object, could be a place, could be nothing, could be something, could be a word. And I try to fit it into the outro.
A pen. A microphone. A sword.
And a sword? All right, look. So the other day, right, I was at the library and I was looking through the books, and I was like, man, I gotta find some medieval books, right? Because I'm thinking about doing this script thing for this movie, and I needed some more inspiration. So I was at the library. Shout out to your public library. Check it out, seriously. And man, this girl, she bumped into me, and all her stuff fell. And I was just like, I'm a big guy. Like, ain't no way you didn't see me. She's like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Just, can you hand me my stuff? I was like, I'm a gentleman. All right, like, I'm sorry, I was in your way. Let me help you. Here's your pen. So I handed her a pen. And then she told me, she was like, pens are like swords. When you write it down, it's like a weapon, because knowledge is power, right? And power is what you need. Okay. So I was like, you gonna take your pen or not? Because I came here for something completely different, and you wasting my time here at the library. But listen though, that book I grabbed, right? You won't believe this, right? It had been put in the wrong spot. It was in the microphone spot for music production and engineering. And I was like, that ain't make any sense. When did the public library start having any of this? You know, they told me, it was like, hey, listen, we had some kids come in. You'll be surprised. In Minnesota, there's a lot of art. It's a flourishing market. There's a lot of youth coming in. They're interested in all kinds of things. So we've got books on audio production and everything else about it. So there was a microphone and everything else. And that book, you know what the book was labeled? Medieval Times Music Production. I was like, it was so weird. But when I opened the book, y'all won't believe this, right? The first page said dedicated to like, share, and subscribe. If all you had to do was like, share, and subscribe, we would be popping off, especially everybody that comes in. I can do more interviews. Listen, the more you like, the more you share, the more you subscribe, the further we can go. All right. Peace.